Well, hello there and welcome to the channel, and in this video I'll be talking to you about those plants and trees that you should never consider cutting during the month of September. Day lengths are shorter, temperatures are starting to cool off, and for many people their gardens are beginning to run out of steam. So it's understandable that there's a temptation to go out there with your cutting tools and have a tidy up to keep a decent look to your garden into the next month or two. Now, while there are plenty of plants in the garden that it will be perfectly fine to cut at this time of year, there are plants out there that if you cut them now, you can weaken the plant, you can increase the risk of fungal and bacterial infections, and you can also be removing the parts of the plant that are holding on to next year's flowers. So if you cut them now, no spring displays for you. So I'm going to start with the group of plants that probably give people the biggest headache, and that is going to be your hydrangeas. Now, some of these, if you cut them now, it's not going to be a big problem, but there's a little group which are going to give you serious problems because they flower on the previous season's wood. So any wood you cut now won't have flowers on the following year. So we are talking about your hydrangea villosa, the Aspera group villosa. We're talking about serrata, which is one of your lace caps. We're talking about your regular lace caps, your macro filler, and also your regular mop heads. All of those you cannot cut. You want to leave them all in place. The temptation is there because quite often the leaves could be looking tired, possibly scorched, discolored. The blooms could be fading and looking awful, but resist the temptation to cut any of these. As a part helpful clip, any of your hydrangeas that flower blue, they're all going to be flowering on the previous season's wood. So you either don't cut them now, or you just give them a light trim. And you wouldn't even do that with your macro fillers because you wait until the spring until you start cutting those. So if in doubt, really, I wouldn't cut any of your hydrangeas at this time of year, especially that group I just mentioned. It's an absolute no-no. You could just have a completely flowerless summer. Oh, it happens so many times. Just don't do it. Now, this next group of plants are your trees, and it's not a fantastic time of year to be cutting trees. It really isn't the right time, but for some trees it's a terrible time, so we really don't want to be touching this group. Firstly, I'm going to mention magnolias. Now, I know they come as bushes, but you do get a lot of trees. If you cut them now, any wood you take off will have next year's flowers on, so you'll be removing all your flowering wood for your spring displays. Secondly, there are a number of trees that they're prone to weeping sap really heavily, and that can really weaken your plants. And we're talking about your birch trees, which are absolutely gorgeous. We're talking about all of your acers, that's your Japanese acers, your American acers, your European sycamores. All of those you never cut at this time of year because it'd just be a sap fest. We don't want that. And the last group are your stone fruit trees. So that's all of your cherries, both ornamental and fruiting. It's going to be your plums, it'll be your apricots, it'll be your nectarines, gages, all of those stone fruit trees from the Prunus genus you don't touch now. No, you had the opportunity the last month, the month before, because you only cut these during the driest, hottest part of the year because of the increased risk of both fungal infection and bacterial infection. As soon as you get into September, you're going to start getting rain, humidity comes up, that risk of infection really increases. So all of those, your magnolias, all those heavily sap weeping trees, and all of those stone fruit trees, you never cut now. You are just going to have to wait. Oh, hold on a minute. If you're finding this video useful or even just mildly amusing, then don't forget to click the thumbs up, press on that subscription, and if you want to be notified of whenever we release a new video, then click on that notification bell. It helps us more than you know, and it allows us to do stupid visits like this in the future. Anyway, let's continue to find out what old boiled butt has to say. bloody glasses back on. Too hot, too sunny. It's too lovely. This next group of plants has exactly the same issue as you have with your magnolia trees. These are plants that take months and months to produce the flowering bud, which will open up in the spring. So again, any part of these plants you remove, you will be removing buds, and I do see it quite a lot. They can be a bit messy this time of year with the new whippy growth, but again, resist the temptation, because you'll be doing yourself a disservice come the spring. So the plants we're talking about camellias, that's a big one. I always see this one messed up. Rhododendrons, azaleas, and don't forget your lilacs. So it's all these ericaceous group plants and your lilacs. Cut them now. Again, no spring flowers for you. So this group of plants are those plants that give you ornamental bark effect over the winter period. So although they might not look particularly interesting now, and the temptation is once again to give it a good cut, if you do that, you'll be depriving yourself of those lovely winter effects. So we're talking about your like your shrubby willows, your salix group. There's some really lovely stem varieties in that. You're looking at the gold standard of coloured stems. That's your dogwood, your coolness. There's plenty of those to choose from. There's other plants, and this is a real name, Cockburnianus. Don't counsel me again. Flipping heck, I've had a nightmare of it recently. We'll talk about that in another video. There's plenty of others out there, so just be aware. The amount of times I've seen the council boys go out and cut a load of cornus back down before the winter period, so it's craziness. The timing has to be correct. You would cut all of those in the spring as soon as you get your bud break, but for now, keep your shears off them. So here's one for you to think about. Now, lots of your herbaceous plants you will be deadheading this time of year in order to encourage further flowers, but consider this. Your American late flowering herbaceous plants like your echinacea, like your rudbeckia, consider leaving those on. Now, the reason for this is because they produce seed at a time of year when there's not a huge amount of seed being produced, and they are a great attraction to local wildlife like your goldfinches, and that is an absolutely stunning bird. So while I will recommend a lot of deadheading, for example, like your dahlias, like your cannas, because it works really, really well, those two plants, think about just leaving those. I know it's going to look messy for a period, but sometimes you've got to think about the greater good. Now, this is the last group of plants, and they are right on the edge of can you or can you not cut them in September. And it really does depend on where you are in the country, how far north you are, and when your first winter frosts start to arrive. Now, for down here, you can get away still with cutting back these plants. You're looking at your lavender, which is arguably one of the most gorgeous of all your early summer flowering plants, and you've got all those other similar plants that sit along with it. So you've got your rosemaries, which again, another really lovely plant. I do like those weeping ones. They are absolutely fantastic. But also stick in there your Russian sage, your Borovsica, and also all of your thymes. You can probably get away with cutting those in the beginning of September. You can down here on the south coast, but if you start leaving it to the end of the month, the chances are you'll get this new invigorated growth coming off, and before it gets a chance to harden off by the winter, the frost will come and it will take all that new growth off. So the plant's wasted its resources and it's weakened the plant for the spring displays, because that new growth would be the growth that houses all that new flower buds. So it's a big no-no. You really are treading a fine line. So just be aware of that. If you want to cut them right at the beginning of the month. Just avoid the latter half of the month. You could ruin next year's displays. Anyway, of course, there are plenty of other plants out there that you shouldn't be touching. And these videos are seen in other countries of the world. So if there's any really pertinent plants that I've missed, then be my guest. Put those in the comments. We would love to hear from you. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye. Right, now, just before you go, if you want to see more content more behind the scenes stuff and images that I've taken of some weird freaky plants over the years, then you're in luck, because we've created an Instagram page. So you can find the link in our description, you can find the link on our main page, and if I'm clever enough I might be able to get a link somewhere up there. Anyway, thank you for watching, and if you want to see more YouTube stuff, then check out this video here. That's got a good one. And if it doesn't float your boat, then another one right there. And enjoy these while still got the strength, imagination and aptitude to make them. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.